Hi, I'm Nikki and welcome back to our second video with Moon Joyce up at her house in Fredericton. And so now we have this big painting, and would you like to tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, this is so far again part of the river series, and it's of the Patapedia River. And here's an example where I took two photographs of two scenes, and this is very typical of the rivers, but it actually doesn't exist in nature, not this particular one, but it is the Patapedia River. And again, it's a spring, and you know the paddling is very easy. But what's interesting about this painting, and what moved me so much, is the name of this one is called Tree Harvester on the Patapedia River. And when you look at it, it's not obvious that there's a tree harvester here, but if you look right at the top of the painting, the tree harvester is right at the edge. And if you go there and you actually climb this big hill and look over the fields, you'll see it's clear cut. And the cutting practices in the north end of the province, they're licensed to cut up to a certain point to the edge of the water. And there is a move afoot by some of the companies to get the rights to cut right to the water's edge. Not in this particular place, but on some of the other rivers where they feel they should have the rights to be able to cut to the water's edge. And I don't know a whole lot about that, but I do know that a number of citizens in the north that use the rivers and are conservation minded are upset about that, because they know that it's a very delicate ecosystem for the salmon in particular. And with the runoff caused by erosion and different things that occur as a result of logging close to the water's edge, will have a really serious negative impact on the salmon populations and their ability to breed. So that was why I added in that feature on this. And I feel like, you know, the great wealth of this province is in its natural beauty, in its resources, and the relationship between, you know, needing to use those resources wisely and then to appreciate what we have, like what is here. Not everybody is a canoeist. Not everybody's going to go up and do a canoe trip. But it would be great if people could, at some point, get to see some of these places in the province. And really, for me, it's about sharing what I see as being some of the most spectacular places that I've ever seen. And I've traveled a lot. I do a lot of outdoor activity, outdoor creation. So that's kind of the end of the river part so far. And then the other piece about this is around the tides. So do you want me to move on to that?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to those paintings.
So the other thing that I mentioned that I'm really quite keen on and discovered is sea kayaking here. Although it's pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be pretty exciting when the tides are really ripping. So where we tend to go in August when the whales are coming in is to go to Grand-Manan. And there's another extraordinary place, a world unto itself, and it is a history of the herring. There's still herring that are fished there, although there's more salmon farming going on, but the herring weirs are still there, but no longer are they processed there. And where we usually rent a house is in Seal Cove. And Seal Cove is has these old smokehouses. So this one, the painting that you had picked up before, is this one. And here are some of the old smokehouses and processing buildings for the fishing industry of Grand-Manan. And this is when the tide goes out in the gut, as it were. The man who owns this building wants to turn it into an artist's retreat, which would be really great. A lot of these buildings are empty now. And so this is just a typical scene when the fog rolls in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the fog. There's a couple more scenes from that same area with the when the fog rolls in. This is just in at dusk. The little bridge going over. Mm-hmm. And what's lovely about this with the lights on the pillars has a look like a European kind of look. Mm. And then one more little fog picture here of the friends. I was walking behind them and the fog had rolled in on the beach. This is the beach at Seal Cove. And although that might be the moon, it's actually just a street light, but it gives a lovely feel of the light. And here is here's the Sardine Museum and Herring Hall of Fame. And it's was a building that was bought by Michael Zimmer from New York City, and he was an architect, and he and his partner Tony, I think Nunziata, Tony was an actor, and they fell in love with grand-manan, and they were quite taken by these buildings and the history of the herring industry, where herring would be caught and processed in these smokehouses. This is a smokehouse right here. And then they would be packed. All of the people in grand-manan were all part of that industry, and the women would do the packing, the cutting, and the packing once they were smoked. Mm-hmm. And these are the stakes that they used to string up all the herring. So these two men were very, very interested in keeping that history alive. So they actually donated, after they died. These buildings are held in trust, and I'm not too sure how it works, but this museum is open for people to go and visit. And there's a couple of residents on the island that keep it open and welcome people to come, and they show them, and they have kept all of the smokehouse as it was as a working smokehouse. So you can actually go there and smell the smoke and the fish, the oil of the fish in the walls. And they'll often have wiener roasts around the fire in the building if you happen to hit it there for an evening. Mm-hmm. And this sardine can is actually a boat that they built, and they used to put a little motor on it and putt around the harbor. Peter Cunningham is quite a well-known photographer from New York who did a PBS special about these two men and this place, and they have a shot of them, whipping through the harbor on their little sardine can boat. And of course, there's lots of feral cats there as well. So, they're sniffing around for fish parts all the time. So this is one scene from that, and all of these paintings are within just a block, not very far. This is a scene of the wharf at high tide. Here's one where I managed to be able to sit and just do the painting, and the beautiful light that's cast in the rickety old wharf, just the beautiful lines, and again the play of light and dark on this one. This is at high tide. You can see the water level is up. And I did another one of the very same wharf, except when the tide's low and from a different angle. So here we have the same wharf. You can see the color. Everything gets muted by the fog. So again, here the tide is out, so it's low tide. Same wharf, but now you get to see it from the side. Mm-hmm. Here I was standing and looking this way on the other painting, and here you're looking at it from the side. Mm-hmm. And you can see that wonderful wharf, those pylons, those old, you can see the structure underneath once the water goes out, and all the lines and things that are hanging down. So this is the working, and it's still a working wharf. These buildings are still being used by people that work out on the bay. So that, you know, trying, I guess for me, maybe it's a romantic notion on my part because I'm a come from away, but I also think that it's a precious thing to appreciate, you know, that history, that living history of New Brunswick that's caused by the tides. I mean, the herring and the weirs, they work because those tides are moving all the time, and they're able to catch the fish that way, and all the shellfish that are produced in the Bay of Fundy because of the tides.
Wow, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
So nice. And if you would like to come see these paintings for yourself, Moon's opening will be on March 16th, Friday, March 16th at the gallery. So come and join us and come see these beautiful paintings. Thanks for watching.